What was specifically you thought like, okay, cybersecurity is going to be the next big thing and I should start working on that?
I felt this 2017, the number one reason for availability and performance or a digital tone disruption is going to be cybersecurity.
And what all challenges you see in operation which you think, no, this is something I will fix? And
To anything in this world, it takes two hands to clap. You can't just clap with one hand, right? They all are innovating fast and furious in their own ways because CISOs are, in some sense, until now, it was a necessary evil.
so what parameters you suggest CISOs that, okay, you take this to the board and you will be in the safe zone or something like that?
My belief is if you're doing the right thing, your hygiene is good, you're working out every day, you're fit.
What do you think the modern SOC should not be doing at all?
Modern SOC should not be doing L1, L2, L3. If something bad happens, we go work and then we sit for something bad to happen. And then you're wasting your time. You've got to be constantly looking at what could go wrong. And then your systems in place to tell you what could go wrong.
So how these two countries different from each other when we talk about the work CISOs are performing on day-to-day basis?
Indian CISOs are as good as anywhere in the world. The CIOs are as good as anywhere in the world. They know this stuff.
Story. So like in India, right now, do you think we are behind or we are just different?
India has some amazing companies, like global, absolutely out of the world talent.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the GB show. In cybersecurity, we have seen often people talking about tools, alerts and breaches. But no one is talking about the evaluation of operations and who have been shaping up these evaluations. In last 20 years, organizations are buying SIM, EDR, MDR, SOC, SOAR and cloud security, different technologies. But problem remains the same. Alerts are increasing, teams are overloaded, and board still not getting confidence in cyber risk. So, is cybersecurity a technology problem or it's an operational problem? The guest which we have today is an insider here who has seen this journey from remote monitoring to the AI-driven detection and managed security operation solutions. He has been serving the global customers long before MDR and 24/7 SOC was mainstream. His work sits at intersection of people, process and platform, where rarely someone in cybersecurity is talking these days. So today we are going to talk about the build, decision, failure, trust and how to establish that with the global CISOs. The Indian and US CISOs perspective. We will also learn how SOC are getting failed even after deployment properly, how cybersecurity future looks like from here, and also the bonus point, where you should be betting on cybersecurity in next 5 years, because he's a venture capitalist too. So along with me, let's welcome Raju Chekuri, founder and CEO of Netenrich. Hi Raju, welcome to the GB show. For my audience to start with, I would like to know, or my audience would like to know who Raju is exactly, and before Netenrich, what you were.
All right. My name is Raju Chekuri. I'm based in Bay Area, California. I've been there since 86. I was 21, 22, and right out of school I went there, and I've been there. And I got two boys, grown up, 31 and 27. They both live in New York. I'm happily married and just building companies.
Okay, building companies, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Was it a planned one or it's an accidental one? Because people know you because of Netenrich, right? So.
Yeah. So I was exposed to businesses right from my childhood.
Okay.
I think my grandma, my mom's mom, I think she was the best businesswoman that walked this earth. So I was a big fan of her. That was like back in Kakinada in Andhra, a rural town in Andhra. So I've seen her work. They had a big restaurant, and then my dad moved from Andhra, Orissa to Gujarat, and I've seen businesses in Gujarat. My dad was doing a cyclo-selling typing institute and jaggery trading and things of the sort. So I've been around businesses for a long time, helping my dad.
Okay.
So that was kind of genetically in there.
Okay.
But then I always wanted to be technically sound, so I started working. I worked for a year designing oscilloscopes in Ahmedabad for Sarabhai's. And then I went to US when I was 22. I worked in test and measurement equipment, designing systems. Then I did about 7 years. I did that for 5 years, and then I did about 7 years of EDA, electronic design automation. So it's how you design chips and systems, and
Exactly.
I did that for a little while, and then I founded a semiconductor company back in 97, 98. It was called Value Communications. That was funded by Sequoia Capital and IBP and a bunch of other top VCs. Ran that for 5 years. Was kind of forced to sell, and we can talk about that later on. And then I started Netenrich in 2004.
Okay, and Netenrich has been a cybersecurity company from the inception itself?
I wasn't a cybersecurity guy myself. I was more of a systems design, software design, and things of the sort. But when I started, the premise was we can pretty much build anything, right? You know, you put some few engineers together, we're solving. Fundamentally, you're not innovating anything. You're applying technology to solve some problems. We've done some hairy, audacious silicon devices that no one has done. So I had a lot of confidence in building a team together and build anything I wanted to build. But then I decided not to do that and solve the operational problem, because at those days, so almost 75-80% spend was in operations.
Yeah.
20% was capex. So it was a big money, and I don't want to be a hero, create something outstanding to go build and get in the market. So I wanted to move into the operations piece. So we want to kind of solve the operational problems. And one thing led to another one. We ended up building a really born in the cloud SaaS platform for IT operations and AI ops. Was called, initially we called it VistaNet. And then Tata's came out with Vista Airlines. So we said, okay, we're going to change the name to OpsRamp. And we grew that, got it funded, spun it out from Netenrich. And then in 2023, May, we sold it to HPE.
Okay.
For some $320 million. It's part of HPE now. Those guys are doing amazing work. I'm very proud of them. And HPE is taking to market, going gangbusters. So I'm very happy on the exit there and what our team has done it. So that's going. And then when that happened, I really wanted to get into security, and I can talk more about that. Yeah.
Okay, so that is the point where you say, no, it is cybersecurity. What was specifically you thought, like, okay, cybersecurity is going to be the next big thing, and I should start working on that? So.
Great question, because while we were doing digital operations and SRE and hybrid cloud operations and things of the sort, and we built a platform from a telemetry and observability and automation stuff and all. While we were doing that, we could see this whole cloud movement, right? Last 20 years, 15 years or so, where, it all started off infrastructure as a service. You put some VMs in the cloud, do the same old thing in the cloud, right? And then slowly AWS gave a bunch of PaaS services, and then Microsoft got a little better at their Azure stuff, and then Google came in. And I felt, this is 2017, when we spun out OpsRamp, I felt the number one reason for availability and performance or a digital tone disruption is going to be cybersecurity. It's not overload CPUs or your disk space is gone or misconfiguration or network not working, because cloud was provisioning it, auto scaling. You spin up as much as you want. You don't have to worry about active, passive, redundancy and things of the sort, which was a big thing in 2015, 2016 kind of a thing. So I could see that happening, and cybersecurity is going to get worse and worse.
Exactly.
And that's when I've walked into it. And the other premise was we want to focus on really operations. With no single company in cybersecurity focuses on operations.
Yeah.
They're all, hey, here's the EDR, the best EDR, here's the best firewall. They're all controls and protection stuff and telemetry. So when that comes to you as a CISO sitting in any bank, the onus is on you to make all the crap work.
Okay.
And then you need experts for that, right? So I thought we're going to make it data science. We're going to make a data lake. We're going to really focus from an operational standpoint, born from ground zero, not buying 6-7 companies, stitching through APIs and kind of calling it a platform. We really wanted to build ground up. So that's what we've been at since 2017, 2018. And one thing led to another one, and I think we're doing exceptionally well on what we built.
Yeah, exactly. And if we see, like, today organizations are just buying tools over tools, and now cybersecurity, we look, it's not technology but the operational risk. What are the core problems you find in in operations, which you think, okay, these are CISOs are struggling with, and I will help them fix it? So you have seen Indian market, you have seen US market. So is it the same perspective or it's different, and what all challenges you see in operation which you think, no, this is something I will fix, and what you are best at today?
Oh, that's a loaded question. We can talk about it for a while. Few things, right? I feel like to anything in this world, it takes two hands to clap. You can't just clap with one hand, right? So there is partly vendors that you all buy from, some really massive ones. They got big size. You've seen QRadar, HP, ArcSight, or hundreds of tools out there. And the new ones coming out, be that Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, or pick a name, Zscaler, and a bunch of guys. They all are innovating fast and furious in their own ways. And they think it'll do a great job for you, and I think it'll do a great job for you. And then you end up buying those things. There'll be guys who love Palo Alto, the guys who love CrowdStrike, Microsoft guys. Just pick any one of these big vendors, and a lot of innovators coming, particularly Israeli companies. A lot of great companies, a lot of innovation going on. So that's one piece. But they're not looking at a solution. They're looking at, they have an agenda to solve certain problems very well deeper, right? Wiz does an amazing job in the cloud, or pick EDR. CrowdStrike is amazing in that front, right? Firewalls, Palo Alto is the best, right? Cisco has some good stuff too. So all these guys have great tools, and that's one big piece.
Yeah.
Plethora of tools coming, plethora of innovation coming. You can't keep up with it, and they're very dynamic. They're innovating fast and furious. Then on the other side, you have the CISOs, the second hand, right? And now, how do you decide what you buy?
Exactly.
Right? You're always budget constraints, because CISOs are in some sense, until now, it was a necessary evil, right? You're a cost center. SOC is horrible. Why do you need more people? And nothing is happening, but they need you for compliance, right? That's how the world was in general. So then you compromise. You think you know what is going to hurt. Oh, endpoints, I need to protect. So you buy an EDR tool, and 6-9 months, a year to make that damn thing work. Then it's not sufficient, I need some network stuff. You buy that and you try to make that separately. So your team doing endpoint, then you say, I need something in the cloud. So you get some cloud tools, and then you say, hey, this won't work, I need two-factor authentication, single sign-on, IAM is a big issue. You buy that, and now all of a sudden, a CISO has become a technologist, not just him or her. You're putting a small team that understands all these tools and specialization of these tools, and you're trying to configure them right so you can protect yourself, and that too in silos. You one by one. Now your SOC bloats, and your SOC is the least experienced guy, the least paid guy called L1 sits in the SOC to look at the first problem. He's the first defender, and he doesn't know what to do. He needs an L2, you need an L3, you're a subject matter expert, you're a shift manager, all of a sudden you have 15, 20, 30 guys to make this stupid thing work, and then you have this massive compliance going on. So all of a sudden, I can't handle it. So what you do is, cut the cost, I want to give it to some outsourcing guys. And the big four outsourcers to very small guys, all trying to help you. But they will never have the context of what you as a CISO or a CIO or a CTO will have. So then you try to cut the cost, you think you cut the cost, but you're not getting what you want to get done, because it's not fault of anyone. It's not fault of a vendor or a CISO or an outsourcer. It's just the systems in place, right? So we're questioning all that. And say, how do you build a data lake just built for cybersecurity?
Okay.
And how do you really solve the problem of efficacy? Forget about efficiency, forget about cost. Are you protecting yourself? Are you feeling confident that you can go to sleep at night, that you're protected? If you don't answer the question, how cheap, how fast, how many tickets, that's a stupidity, right? So our story was efficacy. To do efficacy, you have to work with every single vendor out there. You should be able to ingest anything Palo Alto throws at you, or CrowdStrike, or Wiz, or Microsoft, or your workloads are in AWS, or Google, or Azure. Doesn't really matter. Data center, any endpoint, any authentication systems, right? We want to be able to ingest at scale and work data. You every single field that comes into this in the log, you have to understand that, organize it, and data engineer that. Then you can put machines to work, not people to work. That's where then the agents become very, very helpful. Otherwise, just throwing AI on some traditional SOC process is just putting a lipstick on a pig. Like, this doesn't work, right? So those are the questions we're asking. Efficacy was a big, big deal for us. So we started just philosophical approach to what we need to do in the system building, right? That's what we did. And we've been doing it for almost 6, 7 years, 8 years. And then last 3, 4, 5 years have been just amazing. And last year and a half, it was just outstanding with all the Gen AI stuff and agents we're building. All the data science philosophy we had is really helping us scale the company now very well.
Give me a success story, like, anything which you think it's work brilliantly well, which you are proud of, that this is something which you have done.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about the platform, and then I'll tell you the success story,
Sure,
so you have the
definitely.
context. Yeah. So the platform is essentially risk operations platform, and understanding cyber risk for a company.
Okay. And
it's a data lake, highly scalable. It's got all the machine learning stuff in it, and just petabyte scale ingestion, and then subsequent searches. So all that is possible now. We got a whole agentic framework. We use all kinds of agents there. So it's autonomous risk operations platform. Almost 98% is machines and agents and algorithms running it, supervised by people. And we ingest anything at scale. We want to know what is your attack surface. Our team will talk to you, what's your attack surface? And most people don't know what attack surface.
That is what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like, if you say that, what is your attack surface, what kind of answer you expect, and who you think are actually aware about it.
Yeah. Particularly in the sales cycles. I have it. I have CMDB in some file somewhere. I got it. But the more you peel the onion, CISO struggle, because all the classic CMDB is sitting with some CIO, right? And CTOs don't care for CMDB stuff, and they're fast and furious building technology on cloud and all. So CISO, poor guy, is left with how to look at it. So we work with them. We work with them to codify all the attack surface in our platform, which is all the entities, every user, every consultant, every supply chain guy. The more, the better for us. Once you know attack surface, we look at what controls you have or don't have, what controls are effective or not. We work those things, and then the threat intel that we have. We use Google GTI for that. Google Threat Intel, world's best, right? So then we can map all that done in a MITRE framework. Okay. So we're all talking the same language, standards. And then our agents go watch all this stuff, and there's 2-3 pieces to this whole thing. One is this whole world of known, which is where 95% of people are right now. Every company you go to, I got a QRadar, I got Splunk, I got this, I got that, I got SIM, and so they're all working in the threat detection, incident response world, which is a known thing. Some zero-day attack happens, someone wrote a ERIL rule, you got to make sure it doesn't happen to you again. It's after the fact. But nonetheless, you're protecting the known things that are not happening from you. So that's one big piece. We I would say about 98, 99% automated, done that.
Okay.
Then we take the same signals and we allow you to go hunt in the unknown world. This is where you have to look at everything as a signal, not an alert, and then correlate and what's the behaviors based on entity groups you define. As an individual entity or a group of entities becoming a large group, that we can see how it's behaving. And then we look at anomalies. What's the norm and what is happening? Because adversaries are getting very sophisticated. It's not the protection, it's not cracking into your system, right? That's you're putting a fortifying. But once you're in through social engineering or they snuck in somehow because something was open, some password was compromised. Once you're in, they stay low, they watch you, they mimic the habits of system admins or users and bite you at the wrong time. And there are a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And they're getting very sophisticated. So that's where we look at behaviors and try to catch the unknown. We call it situational awareness. You're looking at every single thing all day long, and then we quantify that. We quantify by saying, what is the likelihood of something happening? If it happens, what's the impact? What are the crown jewels, right? Is the front office admin's laptop, or is the CFO's laptop, or an application that's running is compromised? You have a huge issue in revenue generation. Or your compliance issues. So we kind of define all that, and based on that, we give you the analyst to kind of really validate it, play with it, protect it, put more controls on that. So we're trying to avoid this. We call it the unknown. How do you kind of really make the unknown world really checked, watched, and then you can do something about it. And then we have this whole risk registry and posture. So you can have the risk language and communicate to the board. Board doesn't care how many SOC guys you have. That's mean time to detect, mean time to respond. These are the numbers for efficiency. We really don't care because it has to happen. That's automation. And we increase the efficacy and kind of really look, are you resilient? Are you getting resilient on a day by day basis with the systems you have in place?
So you have touched the right point where you talk about the board, right? So when you go into the board, so of course the points or the detections or how fast we can actually respond, that is not. But when you say resilient, so what parameters you suggest CISOs that okay, you take this to the board and you will be in the safe zone or something like that. So what board likes to look into?
Yeah, that's a big topic. But my belief is, if you're doing the right thing, your hygiene is good, you're working out every day, you're fit, then you don't need to dress up anything. So the key is, every time I talk to CISOs, you want to get things right first. Not for the board, not for the compliance, just to protect your company first. Compliance should be the byproduct. Exactly. Board communication is a byproduct because you don't have to worry, you don't have to dress it up, right? So, but having said that, what board really cares for is, are we resilient? Cyber attacks don't happen. There's zero guarantee. No, if anyone guarantees you, it's nonsense. But are you reducing the risk of something bad happening? If something happens, are you resilient enough? Do you have enough time to respond to kind of protect yourself, right? Or are you in the hole? It's happening all the time. So they want those metrics. How is your posture? How resilient are you? Are you on top of things? Any large attacks happening around the world? Is anything in our industry people are attacking? Are you proactive? That's what they want. They want to be just comfortable that, hey, this is the...
Why I asked, even when CISOs are, looking forward for upgrade their operations metrics and they want to go into the next gen SOC, so the new age solutions, they want to have CISO boards buy-in, and most of the CISOs are struggling there only. Why this monitoring will not work and why you want to go with the new age solutions. You want to have AI inbuilt, but the ROI will come. So, and most of the CISOs don't know what to answer to the board. So that is where I was coming in. But yeah, so I think the platform looks promising. And as I earlier asked, so give me one specific success story where you think this actually built in.
The first good sized customer for us was in the US. It's called CSG Group. CSG Group is essentially a group that's funded by Vista Capital. Vista is one of the largest PE firms, if not the largest. So they brought about 9 companies together: Citrix, Netscaler, Tibco, Jaspersoft, FileShare, a bunch of guys, some 4.5 $5 billion worth of companies together. This was in a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And they reached out to us. Some of the underlying stack for us is Google, because we build as the most scalable, cloud native solution you can ever bet on. The search is amazing. It allows us to do wonderful things as a data lake for us. So we use that. Through that relationship, we were introduced to CSG Group, and so we started working with them about 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years now. They were at that time had some 60 plus cybersecurity team when they came to us, and they were on Splunk. They're spending millions of dollars on Splunk, and they said, this is not working. Now Splunk is bad, but we can't make it work, and we can't use it. We're not using it, and we want to cut costs. So they came to us. So we said, hey, cutting costs is one, but do you believe in this efficacy story? Do you want to be data lake? They loved it. They loved the story. They want to reduce the risk and all. A very seasoned team. Who's now the president and COO is a person named Andy Nalapan. He was CISO for Agilent and Broadcom for a number of years. Superstar. So he and his team looked at what we have, did some due diligence. We got the deal done, and we've been implementing. Now we probably have, they brought down about 7 engineers now, and we are doing a lot of the outcomes for them.
Okay.
On the cybersecurity front. So they're totally protected, hardly any events, and they used to have every quarter 2-3 things.
Oh.
In 20 months, knock on wood, so far they're protected. So we were very proud of that engagement. They were the first large scale one. So we've been working with them. And then we have companies like Sutherland, and we have a bunch of guys in the US. Most recent one is a company called Cohesity and Veritas. I don't know if you know those guys. Superstar team. We work with them very closely. There's the CIO now, Brian, is just an outstanding CIO and the CISO. He's pushing us, and he loves our story. And so we work with CIOs and CTOs and CISOs who really understand the idea of efficacy and data science, and want to be in the world of unknown and predicting and postulating and probabilistic model instead of this known compliance, keep my, just be compliant enough kind of a mindset, right? It really helps us see the platform at its full scale value. So those are the customers, yeah.
And when you are building this modern SOC, right, specifically, I will look into, what you think it should do more, like, detecting unknown, and we are ingesting AI there as well. What do you think the modern SOC should not be doing at all?
Modern SOC should not be doing L1, L2, L3.
Okay.
There should not be no hierarchy. It should be a full stack, just like SREs.
Yeah.
Or in the software world, there's full stack engineers. We should have full stack SecOps people who understand more broader perspective. People who are analytical mindset, who have an intent, not just processing mindset to stay compliant. So you're hunting, because adversaries are hunting, right? They're getting aggressive. You can't be in the defensive all day long. We are defensive. If something bad happens, we go work, and then we sit for something bad to happen. And then you're wasting your time. You got to be constantly looking at what could go wrong. And then your systems in place to tell you what could go wrong with quantification. Once you have that, that's the next gen, I call it risk operations center. Not a classic SOC. The classic SOCs are going to die. Some will get there sooner. Some have already gotten. Many will take the time because it's kind of very foreign to their mind. What is this? I'm doing this. I want to do this problem a little better now, show this, and then I'll do something else. Then it's like you're patching the system, you're going to rethink. And the board, the CTO, the CIO all have to come together to make that work, and not put pressure on CISO to be just a compliance guy. A lot of CISOs are very smart. They want to do, but their hands are tied. Budgets, hands are tied, and then you want them to run the race. How do you run the race? When your hands, you have shackles on your legs. So I feel like as much as board wants to stay protected, they should, walk the talk. They should give the CISOs empowerment or CIOs, bring them together, look at totality, look at risk, and hold them accountable, right? And then you'll solve everything else. Compliance will be easy, right? RBI will love you, SEBI will love you, all those guys will love you, provided you're doing the right thing. Otherwise, you're just fighting. And most of the CISOs are just dying behind, oh, I can't talk to you because I have some regulator coming in. Like, you're spending.
This is something I have seen, but I would like to see ask you: is the situation in India, or you have seen same kind of situation or pressure in US as well? So how these two countries different from each other when we talk about the work CISOs are performing on day-to-day basis?
Yeah, from an intellectual capability standpoint and understanding, I don't see any difference.
Okay.
Indian CISOs are as good as anywhere in the world. The CIOs are as good as anywhere in the world. They know this stuff. They know the whole global stack. They know all this stuff. It's just Indian CISOs are risk averse, and they're a little worried, right? And they had to transform. They had to think change, because your job as a CISO is to keep the company protected. If you sit and don't do much because of budget issues, or you're not able to articulate, or then you're kind of not doing your job, right? Either you do it or don't do it, right? So I feel like some are good, some are really good, but many are still struggling, poor guys. As smart as they are, I like them. I met probably 100, 120 CISOs in the last 2.5 years.
Okay.
In India, because India is a huge market for us. Because every line of code is done in India. The whole team is here. We built here. All the innovation is out of India, Bangalore and Hyderabad, and a small town called Bhimavaram. So I want to really somehow get into India and protect India from an operation standpoint. So that's the hopes and desire. But I feel like great CISOs, but their hands are tied, and the ones who can kind of unshackle themselves and push and have an agenda and intent, then they'll get it done. Otherwise, they'll struggle. Yeah.
How see you see the questions which are coming to you? Like, you are meeting up a CISO in US and they ask you about the product. They will be throwing some questions on you. And when you come to the India, they also, so are there any difference you feel, or it's the same problem everyone is facing?
It all depends on the kinds of CISOs you're talking to, or CIOs, right? The guys in US are more open to kind of really changing and innovating, and listen to young, bright startup companies. They're more open. That's how the startups happen.
Yeah,
in US,
exactly.
right? They're not saying, oh, I got to buy from IBM, I got to buy from Palo Alto, I got to buy from CrowdStrike, Microsoft. They're big boys. They don't care for that. If you have a solution, they will go to bat for you and get it done. I've seen again and again and again. For Andy Nalapan to come to us, he has zero chance to do it. Everyone calls him. Every single vendor he knows.
Okay.
Right? Every single vendor he knows.
Yeah.
He's done business, millions and millions and millions of dollars of business with all of them while he was at Broadcom. For him to come and take a chance on us, that's the mindset.
Exactly.
It's the environment, right? It's an environment that really promotes innovation, and people like change. You want innovation. You just can't just be stodgy and good old things. The world is moving so fast. 3 months from now, it's not the same world with Gen AI stuff. It's a whole different for us. Every month is going crazy for us. We're changing so fast. So buying old tools or big stodgy proven 10 years ago tool doesn't work anymore. It's just like, so the US CISOs and CIOs are much more open to and more aggressive in leveraging technology stack. Whereas in India, because of compliance reasons, because of the role they play, or the roles they think they're playing, they just do enough. Just doing enough is going to hurt them. Yeah, that's the difference.
And what do you think when, as we are talking about India and US stories, so like in India, right now, do you think we are behind or we are just different? Because right now, a lot of things has been happening. Most of the global CEOs came down to Delhi for AI Summit and talking about AI and the future, which, India is becoming like. What's your take on that?
I feel like the problem is the same for everyone, every company. India has some amazing companies, like global, absolutely out of the world talent. You've seen it, Indians here or US or Europe, doesn't really matter. They're all doing well. So they got to solve this problem the same way. The know-how and their capabilities are outstanding. There's no difference. The implementation and risk-taking is lacking. On a scale of 1 to 10, there may be a 2 or 3, whereas the guys in the US is probably 7 or 8, and Europe is 5 or 6. Japan may be 1, right? But know-how-wise, they're all like 8, 9. They know the stuff. They've seen everything. They're very bright. But implementation, taking charge, you just go back to compliance story. You go back to purchasing guy. I don't have budget. Talk to purchasing guy as if you're buying apples from 2 different vendors, right? So it's not apples from 2 different vendors. You're trying to solve your hunger, but it's not 2 apples. It's 2 different things. So if they step in and increase their intent, the desire to keep an enterprise protected, because it's their fiduciary responsibility as a CISO to keep the company protected, and have the ability to speak up and talk to board and negotiate with CIOs and CTOs and CFOs and get things done right. Of course, you want to do it cheaper, but you got to think first is get it done right, then figure out how to go cheaper and optimize, right? Yeah.
Sure, fair enough. And maybe I'll take a bit turn here, and I will like to talk about your journey as a founder and a startup to the organization. If I talk about when you started Netenrich, and if you need to do that today, how you will do it differently? What you will do if you are today's founder, 2026?
There's I would, it's a complex question. I'm trying to go back to my past. It depends on what you're trying to build, right? It all depends on your core competency, number one. It's not just pompous desire and, just this testosterone in you trying to do something. You have to really look at your competency, and based on the competency, what problem can you solve? And what kind of a team can you put together to solve that problem? The world has changed now, where you can start a bunch of things now than you could do it earlier, right? Before, for example, you want to solve a software problem, you need to build a SaaS company. To build a SaaS company, you need a bunch of programmers, front-end engineers, back-end systems, data pipeline, then the provisioning guys, DevOps guys, SREs, then you need to go buy this, and then cloud made it easy, and you can go stack, and then go to market. This is very complex stuff. And guys who could do it well, they needed money and scale, and then in the desire of becoming fast, grow fast, you raise a lot of money and unicorn valuations. This is all financial gamification that happens.
Exactly.
Right? I don't understand why Google gets 28 PE and some guys get infinite PE. So you can tell me all the science about it, and mathematical computation doesn't make any sense to me. It's all emotions. You're just betting. And smart venture capitalists and PE guys and growth capital guys are betting for whatever reason, but they're all emotional bets in my mind.
What are your fundamentals? If you need to choose a founder or a startup to invest in, what you will look into? So
I'm looking at if I'm in now. I'm not. I'm more on the investment side. I'm helping. I'm very focused on what we're building now. I got massive potential to kind of take it to the next level, but I invest in a few things. But I feel like you need founders who are absolutely passionate to solve a problem and not just to make money. And you can see that quickly. If the guys are trying to raise money all the time and they're talking unicorn and big valuation, versus the guys who are obsessed about solving a certain set of problem very uniquely. Once you get that, makes sense, right? So for example, I funded Two Brothers Organic Farm. Two brothers were in the corporate world in Bombay, quit after 9 years, didn't like it, went back to Pune into farms, their ancestry farms, and just converted over 5,000-6,000 farmers one at a time into organic farming.
Oh,
For
okay.
7, 8 years, they brought it to a certain level. They're working at it. We funded them. They're growing gangbusters. They're producing amazing food, high quality, well packaged, nutritional, organic stuff, and they're staying course to that belief system. Are they going to be unicorn? Are they going to be billionaires? God knows, right? But that belief system and obsession and solving a problem and working at it day in and day out with money, without money, is very important. So that's one. I did the same thing, a company called Department of Law. There's a guy called Anand Gandhi, superstar producer, director in Goa. He's doing the same thing. They're sitting in Goa for 6 years,
Okay.
not tempted against some junk Bollywood movies that come up in their mind, and they're building something amazing. That patience, the competency, the passion to do it, and putting up the ups and downs, that is what's required. Once you feel you have it, you enjoy, because startup is tough. Once you have the belief system, startup becomes easy. It becomes a journey, and you're on a journey with money, without money. And of course, you need to raise capital at the right point in time to scale. Good capital comes at the right point in time. Bad capital comes, you just rush into it. So those are some principles, but there are billions of companies done billions of dollars without me. So I'm sure there's other things that work as well. For me, I'm still rooted to fundamentals.
Fair enough. And if someone is coming to you like, okay, I want to get some funds, so what you would like to suggest the startups that when they should go for funding, and what is the minimum baseline they should have ready, and then they should look now, okay.
Yeah.
Let's
I think that brings to the topic today. There's so much available for you to build, and particularly with if you're doing something on the AI world, you're solving some problem. You don't need to understand tech stack. So you don't need expensive engineers anymore, right? And I feel like next 10, 20 years, India is going to just take off because there's a lot of smart people who understand business problems, but they didn't understand the tech stack. So now is the world of people who understand business problems. Once you understand business problems, you can use Gen AI, vibe coding, to whatever it is out there. It's going to get better and better and better. We can just kind of build something in a couple of days and launch it in a couple of days, and you're done with 3 guys or 2 guys. So you're going to have many micro startups happening, and they're not going to become a unicorn and become a $1 billion company. If a 3 guys doing 20, 30, $40 million company, that's the returns of a unicorn you get, because you're not given a 90% company to VCs, right? If you get to $1 billion and you give 90% company, you're $100 million between 50, 60, 100, 200 people.
Yeah.
Versus someone doing 20, $30 million with 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, and in a year or 2 or 3, there's a lot of good returns. So I think entrepreneurs should get into that mode. Let's build something, get it out, build something, get it out, try something new, fail fast, fail first, move on, but stick to it. And that's a multitude of entrepreneurship goes on, and someday you hit it because you're solving some problems in that North Star, because based on your competency, right? You're a security guy, you're going to try and do security. You're a farming guy, you're going to do some farming, but stick to it and do fast. Raising money should not be an objective. Get to your first, 100K or 200K or 300K or $1 million in revenues yourself. And then you really don't need any more your classic enterprise sales guys anymore, right?
That's, I think, beautiful advice. I guess this is all budding entrepreneurs and founders should look out for, because everyone today we see they just want to run funding and they're in the race of becoming unicorn. Like, okay, the thing is not how good your product is. The thing is how much money you're able to, get from the, VCs. So that is the race in India I have seen.
Yeah.
So everyone if you go to Bangalore or Hyderabad, people are like, they are talking to each other on like how much money you have raised. No one is talking about what product you have built, what problem you are solving. So that is the one thing. But as per you, what are the 5 technologies which you think should be emerged in next 5 to 7 years? If I specifically talk about technologies where you would like to invest.
Yeah. So I'll get to that on the investments and tech side. But I'm answering your question about kids chasing startups and things like that. Now, what most people should look at this is venture guys are raising capital from general partners to limited partners, and they're funding 10 companies, and they proudly say that 8 or 9 out of my 10 investments will fail, and or maybe 1 or 2 are going to be big. That pays for everything, right? Yeah. So that means you're talking to VCs, you're doing due diligence. They know there's 1 in 10 chance they're going to fail. You're 10% probability to win, and they're betting on you, right? Now, if you and I went to raise money and say, hey, there's a 90% chance I'm going to fail, there's a 10% chance I'm going to win, you're not going to get funded. Do you? You're not going to give money to anyone, right? Exactly. So, do you want to kind of work on that most of your time trying to raise money too early in the game, or increase your chances of success every day solving a problem? And who do you solve the problem with? Your customer. You get to customer, beg, borrow, steal, work with them, improvise, do everything right for a customer. If you don't do the right thing for the customer, in our case, 100% of customers are references. I don't want a customer that I can't make him a reference. Then then you need more money and get attrition, NRR, this, that, measurements, all that mess happens. So we want to make 100% of customers reference. They may be reference day one because they love our story and they're open to talk about us, or they say, prove to me first, then I'll do it. A month or 2 or 3 or so, whatever the stuff is, but everyone is a customer reference for us. So if that intent is really high in you, burning desire, then you'll do the right thing as an entrepreneur. Then you're solving the problem, you're obsessed about it. Because every minute you spend on trying to raise capital, you're not going deeper into problem solution, right? And then you don't need much to live, particularly in India. In India, I'm telling you, this is a beautiful place for innovation, because our community is so resilient. I can go park at my friend's place and don't pay a penny for a year, and I eat free food, and I don't need money. I can survive for a year. Anywhere.
That is what we Indian do.
Yeah, and everywhere there's a Wi-Fi, everyone has computer, everyone has cell phone. It's just like everything is connected. Every AI model is available to us. You pay them 20, 30 bucks, you can do whatever you want to do, 100 bucks a year, or a month. You can build anything now. I think it's going to be fun times. Next 10 years, that comes to your question. I think, from a big sectors that we got to look at. Of course, I don't know much about defense, and that's a whole different game. But there's a large-scale innovation on the healthcare. Healthcare, of course, there'll be better guys who are producing better molecules for pharma. They'll create better surgery equipment and better educational stuff for doctors and all. But how you leverage knowledge to keep yourself healthy, be that biohacking or what you're doing, is going to be incredibly strong in terms of you'll have less dependence on doctors. Again, you take this cybersecurity problem and take to doctor, it's the same shit. It's exactly the same thing. You go to a physician, he'll say you got a cold, this and that. Okay, you take some medicine, go to sleep. Then say, no, I'm having the same thing, get some blood tests, look at the blood panel testing, this and that. You need to go to a specialist, he looks at their specialization. He said D3 is less for you, vitamin D, you take D3, Raja. Then he say you this injection, you're just bouncing around, and then they're not root causing it, because body is a complex thing and very interdependent biochemistry going on, and having not a siloed approach to how you hack you or how you solve your problem, but highly interrelated dependencies, and having a knowledge base look into to tell you, hey, if you're having vitamin D3, you need vitamin D3, but if you have overdose of it, you may have some dry skin patches. To reduce the patches, you need some potassium. They don't tell you, just take D3 and done, right? So there's a massive work that's going to happen using LLMs and all to kind of solve how a common man can do 95% of medicinal needs themselves. That's one big piece. And I think, food is, of course, is going to go crazy. But the big thing is, I think the mental health also, right? I think it's going to, AI could hurt you, at the same time AI could help you. And so there'll be a lot of startups trying to solve mental health problems.
Yeah.
And then I feel like this whole entertainment, most of us right now are very passive in our entertainment. We watch movies. At most, we go to weddings and dance, Bharat, or you go to nightclubs and dance a little bit. But you're not mentally actively participating or physically actively participating. So there'll be a lot of technologies that might help you to physically and mentally participate, to kind of really stay healthy, stay fit. This is a whole health is another one. Entertainment is another one. Creativity. And just kind of the whole, for example, the entire DJ is dying now.
Yeah.
Right? Just agents can create whatever you want to go create. And so there'll be a lot of disruption. The young guys are very sharp. They're very resilient, particularly in India. And I think they will do a bunch of good stuff. So we'll see what happens next 10 years.
Yeah. So, and I'll just come back to cybersecurity, because AI and agents we are talking about, like, do you think it's, replace a security analyst, or will make them more important? How AI will fall in, and in your journey in Netenrich, where you are, because we were talking about L1, L2, L3 will just go. So are we already there? Or what do you think in 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years down the line, you will not have these human working at these layers, but it will be all agents and AI?
I think
you have already replaced any
yeah.
or already done?
We don't.
Okay.
We still have about 110 guys in our cybersecurity SOC. Just 3 years ago, we had 27 now. And then,
so AI is taking the jobs?
No, it's not the jobs. They're doing different things.
Okay.
So they have become data engineers. They become detection engineering guys. They're response engineering guys. They're engineering guys now. They're engineering agents to do what they need to go do, right? So they're not watching things. They're not watching monitors and false positives and triaging and creating tickets, and all the dumb work is out. And then the next phase is we're putting agents to kind of do better data engineering stuff.
So making agents, analysts more intelligent.
So it's called analyst in the loop, human in the loop, but you're supervising. You become an AI supervisory role. For you to become an AI supervisor, you would have broader perspective. You can't be a really specialized guy.
Okay, fair enough. Quick rapid fire. Maybe one decision you regret as a founder.
I screwed up in 2000. I funded it in 98, raised some amazing money from some amazing investors. The Don Valentines and Mike Morris of the world from Sequoia. These are legendary guys. And we're doing really well. A couple of offers to sell this company with nothing in it, no chip, no systems, just the team I had put together, 16 PhDs. Bill Daly was my CTO. I brought him from Stanford. Bill is now the chief scientist for NVIDIA. He's driving all the research for GPUs and all. He was my CTO. We had a great team, and we had $1 billion valuation acquisition offer. I just threw them away, and I don't want to talk to you. I was massive ego. I felt I was blessed. God has made me, brought from India to US. I got Sequoia money. I got Bill Daly. I got 16 PhDs. There's a reason behind why this is happening, and I can't sell this. I didn't sell. And then 9/11 happened, and everything came back to zero. And so that was, I wouldn't regret, but I would have taken a different path. I took this path now, so I'm very happy, but I would call it a mistake. Maybe I could have done 100 more companies if I did that those days, right?
Fair enough. And on the follow-up only, I will just ask, what is that one decision which changed everything?
Oh, One decision to change. What I am today is kind of not one thing, but a couple of things. Growing up in India, we're a lower middle class, and we are Rajputs from Andhra.
Okay.
And my dad was high on Rajputs, and he always kind of drove the mindset of nobility. You want to be noble, you want to be righteous, you want to do the right thing, no shortcuts. So he kind of ingrained in my brain right from childhood. So that's one thing that kind of shaped me. And then the thing that complicated that was when I was 11, 12, 13, I was a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan, But by 15, I was 6'2", and there's the angry young man and solving problems and nothing can go wrong and you got to be accountable, you got to jump in, do all this stuff. The nobility and the angry young man coming together shaped everything I do in my life. Now anger has gone away, but doing the right thing has stayed. So that's that's probably one big cultural thing that I have that has made me more accountable over the years, doing the right thing and all. And things take time, so I don't look for quick fix. It takes time. Everything takes time. Everything. It has to happen at the right time, but you stay the course. So that's what I done, and that's what shaped me. So I don't think I have a one-trick answer there.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And with this all, if where you are today, what keeps you awake tonight?
I sleep well. I sleep well. My team gets really nervous when I say, oh, we got to close this deal. I said, no, I want him to really believe in this. I don't want to close the deal. I don't want to close. I have no monthly pressures. I don't have any quarterly pressures. I don't have a board. We're funding it ourselves. We're profitable. And we are in this game long term, and we want to do it right. So we don't want to hustle into anything. I don't. Nothing gives me. No matter who I'm meeting, who we're talking, say, $1 million deal, $2 million deal, I have zero anxiety. because we're in this, we've seen it, we've done it, and we have something amazing, valuable. I have an outstanding team. So it's so hard if you raise money and give a story. You have to execute the story. You can't change, you can't adapt to it. They don't have time, they're running out of time. Raising money, the biggest problem for most people is they don't look for return on your investment. Return on investment has unlimited amount of time. I might take 10 years, 20 years, but I'll give you 10 times your money you put after discounting for interest rates and things of the sort, right? They all look at for IRR, internal rate of return. It's a time bound. In 4 years, I want to get this. 3 years, I want to get that. As a startup, for us, we're not time bound. So that's the luxury we have. So that doesn't keep me awake at all.
That's a dream of many to have.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And I think it was really great talking to you, Raju, and I got great insights about you. I think you are a great human being as a person, and how you're shaping up your organization. That's great. So my last segment, which I generally ask my guests to, talk to the audience directly, right? So if any young professional in India, or maybe any startup or a founder buddy who is making cybersecurity company for global CXOs or global platform, what they should actually be doing? What will be your advice to them? So my audience is all yours.
I can't kind of advise in any particular way because I don't know what they're trying to do. But pick a problem set and then bring a team around you that can, not just you, right? You don't want to drink your own Kool-Aid. You want 2-3 guys, like-minded people, but can argue and debate with you, and you can synthesize and put a hypothesis together and build it and validate. You need a very strong 1 or 2 people around you to make what needs to be made, right? And hopefully a complementary skill set, because it's not just building something, but getting to customers and making sure it works and iterating. And so you need a skill set to make all that happen. And also, this is, I learned when I was 33, 34, when I was raising Sequoia money. There was 2 guys who founded Sequoia. Capital. There was Don Valentine, and then a person called Pierre Lemon, a French guy. They're both semiconductor guys. So I'll pass on that to you guys. So, so I went for a one-on-one with Don. And Don, and I was young, a semiconductor, came from a software background, chip building and all. So I said, Don, I have 2 questions for you, help me out. He said, tell me business cycles. Is there a business cycle in semiconductors? You've been around, at that time he was about 60 or something, was maybe almost 25, 30 years older than me, maybe more, 65 something. And he's done Don, he's put the money into Apple and Oracle and Cisco and all thing. So he was saying, you will go to cycles. Is it a 5-year cycle or 6-year cycle, 8-year cycle, 3 years? You'll go to cycles. When things are going gangbusters, the stock markets are going, everyone's buying more and more and more, you have to get a gut feel that at some point it's going to stop. When you're feeling that is peaking, you stop. You may lose a little bit of upside, but it's okay. Because when it's coming down, you're ahead of the game. And when things are falling through the cracks and you think it's an abyss, it's going to end the world and doomsday, but it's going to come back up. So don't feel that way. Reinvest a little earlier. Don't stop going all the way down. So manage your cycles. You may lose the upside, but you protect the downside and you'll be more even keel. That was a beautiful advice from him. The second piece he said was, the whole, you read a lot of books, Harvard Business Reviews, this, that, strategy, McKinsey, big boys from big MBA schools and all. What do you think about strategy versus tactics? So his point was he believes in 95% tactics. And he was telling me that time that he used to tell John Chambers, who was the CEO at that time, that he was, as the vice chairman of Cisco, he was saying, I keep telling John to be tactical. I don't want any damn strategy from you. Just execute, talk to your customers. And then he told me, look at what Nortel and Lucent did in optical stuff. They've done fiber optics, and now look at Cisco is going to continue to grow. So he was a big believer in tactics. Of course, you need some strategic mind too, because you need to know the North Star, where you're going. If you don't know the North Star and strategic, you won't be able to change fast enough, but you have to execute. Execution is a big game. Ideas are plenty. Getting in, playing the game, execute, falling, getting up, doing. So tactics is very important. So people should be very, very strong in tactics. That's from Don, the best in the world. Poor guy's passed away. But then Pierre Lemon is a different personality, both poker player faces, right? I went to ask him, Pierre, tell me a little bit about the same questions. He looks at me and said, Raju, stand up. I said, okay, take the chalkboard. And I said, then he started asking me a bunch of questions. He says, what's your target market? So I said, this is what it is. Who are the key guys in there? Do you know the names? So I named like 10, 12 accounts that I want to win. Cisco, Ciena, TELUS, Marconi, Fujitsu, Seren, blah, blah, blah. So he said, okay, good. What's the number 1 there? Number 2, number 3, you made me rate it. I said, okay, so you understand ICP. And I didn't know it was called ICP that time. Then he said, where are you manufacturing the chip? Who's the supply chain guy? Where's the packaging coming from? Who's the wafers coming from? What's your alternate sources for that? He asked me a bunch of questions. I had to answer that. They said, what is the IP? What's the core IP you're building? We are building SerDes, serializer, deserializers for high-speed transmission. So he told me, why is it different from anyone else? Who's the competition? He asked me a bunch of questions, financial, unit economics, and all this shit. So I drew all those things. An hour later, he goes, good. You need to be a chief financial officer, you got to be CTO, you got to be a VP of engineering, you got to be a VP of marketing, you got to be a sales head, you got to be a supply chain guy, you got an operations guy, you know, test guy. If you don't understand as an entrepreneur all those things, you can't manage anyone. No one will respect you. So that was his advice. So I think, who is going to listen to this, take it to heart, and that's the only way you're going to become big.
Amazing. I think you have ended it on a very high note, and these are the problems people are seeing, like, what you should be doing, but they have to do everything. So, okay, I think great, Raju. So I hope all of you enjoyed this show. I'll see you next week. Till then, take care, be safe. See you.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Yeah.